Édouard Balladur is a French politician who served as Prime Minister of France under François Mitterrand from the 29th of March 1993 to the 10th of May 1995. He unsuccessfully ran for president in the 1995 French presidential election, coming in third place. Biography. Balladur was born in Izmir, Turkey, to an ethnic Armenian family with 5 children and long-standing ties to France. His family emigrated to Marseille in the mid to late 1930s. In 1957, Balladur married Marie-Joséphine Delacour, with whom he had 4 sons. Balladur started his political career in 1964 as an advisor to Prime Minister Georges Pompidou. After Pompidou's election as President of France in 1969, Balladur was appointed Under-Secretary-General of the Presidency, then Secretary-General from 1973 to Pompidou's death in 1974. He returned to politics in the 1980s as a supporter of Jacques Chirac, a member of the neo-Gaullist Rally for the Republic Party. He was the theoretician behind the cohabitation government from 1986 to 1988, explaining that if the right won the legislative election, it could govern with Chirac as Prime Minister without Socialist Party President François Mitterrand's resignation. As Minister of Economy and Finance, he sold off a large number of public companies and abolished the wealth tax. He appeared as an unofficial deputy prime minister in the cabinet led by Chirac. He took a major part in the adoption of liberal and pro-European policies by Chirac and the RPR. After Chirac's defeat at the 1988 presidential election, part of the RPR held him responsible of the abandonment of Gaullist doctrine, but he kept the confidence of Chirac. Prime Minister. When the RPR-UDF coalition won the 1993 legislative election, Chirac declined to become Prime Minister again in a second cohabitation with President Mitterrand, and Balladur became Prime Minister. He was faced with a difficult economic situation, but he did not want to make the political errors of the previous cohabitation government. If he failed to impose his project of minimum income for youth, he led a moderate liberal policy in economy, conveying the image of a quiet conservative. He did not question the wealth tax, and, despite corruption affairs affecting some of his ministers, who he forced to resign, he became very popular and had the support of influential media. 1995 presidential election. When he became Prime Minister, Balladur had promised Chirac that he would not enter the 1995 presidential election, and that he would support Chirac's candidacy. However, a number of right-wing politicians advised Balladur to run for the presidency in 1995. He went back on his promise to Chirac and entered the campaign. When he announced his candidacy 4 months before the election, he was considered the favorite. In the polls, he led Chirac by almost 20 points. However, from the position of an outsider, Chirac criticized Balladur as representing dominant ideas, and the difference between the two decreased quickly. The revelation of a bugging scandal which implicated Balladur also contributed to a drop in his popularity among voters. In the first round of the election, Balladur finished in third place with 18.6% of the vote behind the socialist candidate Lionel Jospin and Chirac. He was thus eliminated from the final runoff election between the top 2 candidates, which Chirac won. Chirac immediately appointed Alain Juppé to replace Balladur as Prime Minister, despite Chirac declaring that he and Balladur had been friends for 30 years. Balladur's decision to stand against him greatly strained the relationship. As a result, the Balladurians who had supported him in the presidential election, such as Nicolas Sarkozy, were ostracized from the new Chirac administration. Later political career. Balladur failed to win the elections for the presidency of the Île-de-France region in 1998, the RPR nomination for the mayoralty of Paris in 2001, and the chair of the National Assembly in 2002. He presided over the National Assembly's Foreign Affairs Committee during his last parliamentary term. Since the 1980s, he had advocated the unification of the right-wing groupings into a single large party, but it was Chirac who managed the feat, with the creation of the Union for a Popular Movement in 2002. In 2007, when Nicolas Sarkozy was elected president, he nominated Balladur to the head of a committee for institutional reforms. The constitutional revision was approved by the Parliament in July 2008. From 1968 to 1980, Balladur was president of the French Company of the Mont Blanc Tunnel while occupying various other positions in ministerial staff. Following the 1999 deadly accident in the tunnel, he gave evidence to the court judging the case in 2005 about the security measures he had or had not taken. Balladur claimed that he always took security seriously, but that it was difficult to agree on anything with the Italian company operating the Italian part of the tunnel. From 1977 to 1986, he was president of Général de Service Informatique, making him one of the few French politicians with business experience. In 2006, he announced that he would not run again for re-election in 2007 as a member of parliament for the 15th arrondissement of Paris, a conservative stronghold. In 2008, Balladur visited the United States to speak at an event organized by the Strike Council, a Washington-based think tank. Balladur presented his latest book, in which he outlined a concept for a Union of the West. Balladur is often caricatured as aloof, aristocratic and arrogant in media, such as the Canard enchaîné et Écoute weekly of the Les Guignols de l'Info TV show. In 2011, he was hospitalized during 2 weeks for Neisseria gonorrhea arthritis. Political offices held. Governmental functions: Prime Minister, 1993 to 1995. Minister of State, Minister of Economy and Finances, 1986 to 1988. Electoral mandates: National Assembly of France, member of the National Assembly of France for Paris, elected in March 1986, but he became minister 1988 to 1993, 1995 to 2007. Elected in 1986, re-elected in 1988, 1993, 1995, 1997, 2002. Regional Council, Regional Councillor of Île-de-France, March to April 1998. Municipal Council, Councillor of Paris, 1989 to 2008. Re-elected in 1995, 2001. Rwanda genocide. On 5 August 2008, the government of Rwanda issued a report, accusing Balladur of involvement in the 1994 Rwanda genocide that killed 800,000 people. He and other French officials were accused in the report of giving political, military, diplomatic and logistical support during the genocide to Rwanda's extremist government and the Hutu forces that slaughtered minority Tutsis and politically moderate Hutus. Cabinet: Édouard Balladur, Prime Minister; Alain Juppé, Minister of Foreign Affairs; François Mitterrand, Minister of Defense; Charles Pasqua, Minister of the Interior and Regional Planning; Edmond Alfanderi, Minister of Economy; Nicolas Sarkozy, Minister of the Budget and spokesman for the government; Gerard Longuet, Minister of Industry, Foreign Trade, Posts, and Telecommunications; Michel Giraud, Minister of Labour, Employment, and Vocational Training; Pierre Méhaignery, Minister of Justice; François Balladur, Minister of National Education; Philippe Mestre, Minister of Veterans and War Victims; Jacques Toubin, Minister of Culture and Francophonie. Jean Puig, Minister of Agriculture and Fish; Michelle Elliott-Marie, Minister of Youth and Sports; Dominique Perben, Minister of Overseas Departments and Territories; Bernard Bosson, Minister of Transport, Tourism, and Equipment; Simone Veil, Minister of Social Affairs, Health, and City; Michel Roussan, Minister of Cooperation; Hervé de Chériat, Minister of Housing; Alain Carignon, Minister of Communication; André Racino, Minister of Civil Service; Alain Madelin, Minister of Companies and Economic Development; François Fillon, Minister of Higher Education and Research. Changes: the 19th of July 1994, Minister of Communication Alain Carignon leaves the cabinet and the ministry is abolished. The 17th of October 1994, José Rossi succeeds Longuet as Minister of Industry, Foreign Trade, Posts, and Telecommunications. The 12th of November 1994, Bernard Debré succeeds Roussan as Minister of Cooperation. Bibliography. For a Union of the West, 2009, Hoover Institution Press, ISBN 9780817949327.